So I just saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it was certainly a commercial product I consumed only to desire more Sonic media to satiate my hunger. So I ended up playing Sonic Adventure Dick's Director's Cut, and that too was a commercial product I consumed. Anyways, this is Sonic Adventure Retrospective. Unlike Sonic Adventure 2, I really don't have a strong attachment to this game, and I only ever played it after I played the sequel at a friend's house, and I didn't own it until the 360 port. I know I reviewed Adventure 2 first, so going back to the start of the Adventure series is kinda dumb and weird. I know I should have reviewed this game first, but it's better late than never. This game was released in Japan on the Dreamcast in December of 1998 and hit North America in September 1999. I never played the Dreamcast version, and I've only ever owned the 360 port and the Steam version. The footage is from the Steam port, and most of what I'll be complaining about will probably be specific issues with the Steam port, because I'm going to tell you right now it's a bad port. Okay, before starting, I'm going to give a quick plot synopsis of the game, and then we'll start with the criticisms of the story and go from there. So there are 6 personal stories in this game, but 4 actually impact the overarching narrative, and a lot of it is just repeated anyway, so I'm just going to go in chronological order and focus on the main narrative at hand here. Dr. Robotnik shows up to Angel Island and shatters the Master Emerald, unleashing an orb and a goo man, forcing Knuckles the Enchilada to collect the pieces of the Master Emerald. Meanwhile, in Station Square, Sonic is just screaming into the night and sees police sirens and follows. We learn that Sonic is up against Chaos, the god of destruction, and for a god, this guy really is a fucking chump. Instead of pursuing, Sonic is lounging around until Tails starts to lose control of his plane and crashes nearby. Anyway, Sonic rescues Tails, who is trying out his new plane, which runs on a Chaos Emerald.
This thing's got unlimited power, you know.
With unlimited power, you can make a beautiful utopia, Tails. But no, let's build a shitty plane instead, because that's what we really need to do. Okay, we go back to Tails' workshop, where Eggman shows up and mugs the duo. In order to stop Eggman, Sonic and Tails decide they're going to collect the Chaos Emeralds before he does. Eggman tricks Knuckles into thinking Sonic is collecting the Master Emerald pieces for himself, and Knuckles goes back to Mystic Ruins and sees Sonic. They fight and they lose the emeralds. Eggman launches his egg carrier, forcing Sonic and Tails to get into the tornado and chase him down, but they get shot down and separated. While this is happening, Amy was shopping and found a cute little bird. However, the bird is being hunted down by this big robot Zero. Amy runs into Sonic, who just conveniently fell back into Station Square, and they run away from Zero but get separated in Twinkle Park. Amy and the bird get kidnapped by Zero, and Sonic pursues on foot, only for Zero to get beamed up to the mothership. Tails meets up with Sonic and they pursue the ship once more in the new Tornado 2 plane. Meanwhile, Amy convinces the robot to let her and the bird go, and he does. Sonic and Tails meet up with Amy on the ship's deck, only for Gamma to show up and they fight. We find out that Zero was after the bird because it had a Chaos Emerald, and now Chaos has 6 emeralds. Big just kind of shows up, I guess, and fishes? Anyway, Sonic and team defeat Chaos 6 and the egg carrier crashes into the ocean, separating the entire team. Sonic explores some ancient ruins and is given a vision of the past while Tails and Amy are in Station Square. Eggman launches a ballistic missile to kill everyone in Station Square, but his missile was a dud. Tails beats Eggman to the nuke and makes sure it's disabled while Amy fucks off to find Birdie's family. Tails defeats Eggman and Eggman retreats to his base in shame. Gamma realizes he has to free his brothers from Eggman's bondage by murdering them, and he does just that. Gamma kills all his brothers, but dies during his fight with Beta, bringing Birdie's family in the process, ending his and Amy's quests. To put an end to Eggman's plan, Sonic goes to Eggman's secret base and fucking kills him. All is said and done until Chaos shows back up for the grand finale. He kicks the shit out of Knuckles and Eggman, steals the Chaos Emeralds, and becomes perfect Chaos, leveling the entirety of Station Square. Now, I haven't really talked about this, but Chaos's origin was drip-fed to the audience through these visions the Red Orb granted Sonic and friends, including Big and Gamma for some reason. The Red Orb is named Takal, an ancient echidna who stopped Chaos before by sealing him into the Master Emerald with her. Chaos was a guardian of these little chow fuckers, but Takal's dad, Pac-Man, decided to plunder the Master and Chaos Emeralds for their power. And this made Chaos mad and he exterminated an entire civilization, and he's gonna do it again. However, Sonic uses the power of friendship and beats the literal devil out of Chaos, which makes him good again, I guess. I don't know how. And that's the story. Sonic rides off into the sunset, leaving thousands of civilians to drown and suffocate under the rubble. The end. Okay, you're all refreshed and caught up on the story. So here are my thoughts on the story real quick. First, I like how there are differences between Eggman in both Sonic's story and Tails' story. Sonic's Eggman is just kind of a goofy, angry villain, while Tails sees Eggman as more of an intimidating foe. It's a really nice touch that gives both perspectives a unique character-oriented feel. It also plays into Tails' character arc of becoming independent.
If it isn't Sonic! Look, it's a giant talking egg! Well, if it isn't Sonic and Tails.
It's Eggman!
Now, is Tails' arc interesting or particularly compelling to me? No, not at all. But I still appreciate the effort they put in. I also like Sonic Adventure's attempt to have a more nuanced storytelling approach with Gamma. I mean, for a stupid children's game, this is kind of interesting.
E-105 Zeta rescue complete. Units remaining. Gamma.
This quiet moment where Gamma realizes that he and Beta are the only two E-series left, forcing him to quietly contemplate his own existence and what he should do about himself, is really, really good. It's simple and effective, and it gives Gamma so much more depth than all the other characters. I think it's a nice sci-fi story for children. Good job, Sonic devs. You did it. Proud of you. And although I think Gamma's story is fine as is, I think his and Big the Cat stories are completely pointless. They really don't add anything to the overall narrative, so they don't really need to be here. Okay, you know what? You can keep Gamma. Gamma's good. Big. Get him out of here. I also really hate this fucking red orb to call. She just shows up and drags you into the flashback to exposit dialogue at you, and all the characters react with the same, "Whoa, is this a dream or what?" No, it's a mystical vision of the past. These are real pace breakers too, and they really don't need to be here. Just have to call show up at the end and say something like, "Chaos used to be good, but now he's bad because my father did a bad thing. We have to stop him and seal him in the emerald again." I really didn't need to see or know anything about the past. I mean, it's an attempt at world building, but there really isn't much going on of interest here. Overall, the stories just kind of suck, and same with the overarching narrative. It's really just there to justify going from point A to point B, which serves gameplay just fine actually. And I know I shit on Sonic Adventures 2 story, but like I said, I like it because of how charming and silly it was, but I really didn't find this game's story all that charming or funny. It isn't nearly wacky enough to get me to laugh at it like the other game was. I'm sorry, but it's just not appealing to me.
We're here to kill Chaos.
Chaos!
Okay, fuck story. This isn't Nier Automata. Play that if you want a good sci-fi story. We're here because I want to ramble about Sonic the Hedgehog, and you got tricked into watching something stupid. How's the gameplay you've been shouting for minutes now? Well, it's good. Mostly. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big, and Gamma all have unique gameplay styles, but more or less share the same stages. There are 11 stages in total, but not every character is going to go through every single stage. For example, Sonic has 10 stages and doesn't get to experience Hot Shelter. Amy gets to go through Hot Shelter, but she only has 3 playable stages. The 11 stages are also semi-reconstructed to fit the different gameplay styles. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all have a stage in Casinopolis, but it's built slightly differently to accommodate each of them. Sonic plays pinball, Tails has a linear raceway, and Knuckles hangs out in the lobby climbing upwards to find emerald pieces. So I'm going to start breaking down the gameplay styles, starting with Sonic, as well as going through his stages. Sonic is by far the best to play as, without a doubt. It's all momentum-based, high-speed platforming at its finest. Sonic's basic abilities are the Spin Dash, which allows him to stop and gain an insane amount of speed and kill Badniks, and the Homing Attack, which also kills Badniks. There are a few upgrades like the Lightspeed Dash, which lets Sonic dash through rings, the Crystal Ring, which makes the Lightspeed Dash charge faster, and the Ancient Light that lets Sonic kill this monkey in a cage. Alright, being completely honest here, I only ever used the Homing Attack and Spin Dash unless I had to use the Lightspeed Dash. The Ancient Light turns the Lightspeed Dash into a more offensive move, but because the Lightspeed Dash requires Sonic to come to a complete stop and charge, I only ever used this one time when it was needed for progression. It might not be completely useless, but I personally found it to be slow and break the pace of the game. And that criticism goes for the Lightspeed Dash too. It just slows the game down since it has to be charged. Sonic's spin dash is not also just used for offensive abilities, but also allows the player to get to more secret areas, which is great. Sonic stages are built to have extra pathways and have goodies hidden for those who are willing to explore and use his abilities to find them. Again, I have to say this is great. And while I think his abilities are fun to use, sometimes Sonic has weird interactions with the world. Using the spin dash on Lost World during the boulder chase will cause the boulder to excel past Sonic, throwing him off the edge when you inevitably run into it when it stops in front of you. Sometimes as Sonic gains too much speed, he'll just cloop through things. I've had this happen specifically on Skydeck right here, and I've seen it happen on Emerald Coast several times. Aside from Sonic's weird interactions, his stages are pretty solid. Like I said, his stages offer multiple paths and are heavily momentum based, with the last half of Speed Highway having several routes, and by all means, it's his best stage. And most of his stages are actually pretty solid. Emerald Coast is a great opening with a weird orca scene?
Nuke the whales? You don't really believe that, do you?
I don't know. Gotta nuke something.
Yeah, fuck them whales, Nelson. Wind Valley is a fast-paced, fun stage, and Red Mountain is a solid level, and Final Egg is also a great one. Twinkle Park is alright, but I'm not a big fan of this opening hovercraft track that it starts with. It's not really engaging, but the rest of the stage is pretty solid. Ice Cap is alright, but a little bit too slow-paced for me. Hang on Icicles might be interesting, but as Sonic falls, nothing of consequence really happens. The snowboarding minigame at the end is cool at first, but then I realized that I actually don't need to touch the controller. The three stages I don't like are Casinopolis, Skydeck, and Lost World. Casinopolis is all about collecting rings by playing pinball, and I fucking hate it. It's a waste of goddamn time. Skydeck is a little too confusing and uninteresting when it comes to climbing these cylinders around. It's really not fun at all for me. And the last stage I really didn't like was Lost World, and personally, I'm not a fan of the giant snake room and this big square room. These two rooms just slow down the whole level to a crawl, and it just sullied the entire level's experience for me. Yeah, okay, I fell here several times. I'm a salty bitch, deal with it. There's also this airplane stage that shows up 4 times, twice in Sonic's story and twice in Tails' story. It's not very good, and I was pretty checked out. Sonic's gameplay is easily the best, but personally, I like the speed stages in Sonic Adventure 2 more since they're built around Sonic, even if they're more linear. The next playable character is Tails, and similarly to Sonic, he builds up a decent amount of speed and momentum, and he feels great to control. His basic abilities include his tailspin, and he can fly for a short period of time. If he runs, he can curl up into a ball instead of doing his tailspin. Tails gets this upgrade that lets him fly faster, and this one that lets him spin forever. Yeah, the spinning isn't that great. I just prefer to fly past everything, and even during the boss fight, I found it easier to jump on things because I received contact damage when trying to spin. His stages are focused around racing Sonic, and they're not bad. He only has 6 stages and they don't last very long. Tails also has this bad sand snowboarding stage, and it's more or less boring. Honestly, nothing can kill me here, so there's no risk, so there's really no reward to be had here. Out of his 6 stages, Speed Highway is again the best stage. It takes full advantage of Tails' moveset and lets him fly over the entire stage. Honestly, I wish Tails had more levels designed specifically around his movement, but this is much better than his mech stages in the sequel, by far. Up next is Knuckles, and unlike Sonic, he doesn't fuck. Just like Sonic, Tails, he builds up momentum nicely and he feels good to control. He can glide and climb walls and then punch things. He can get an upgrade that lets him dig so he can find more emerald pieces, rings, and other important items for progression. All his stages are focused on finding pieces of the Master Emerald in 5 different stages: Speed Highway, Casinopolis, Red Mountain, Lost World, and Skydeck. It's a game of hot and cold, but unlike Sonic Adventure 2, you can actually detect several emerald pieces at once, making these stages incredibly short. These little hint orbs also just show you where the pieces are at, which kind of defeats the purpose of interacting with the radar whatsoever. I really don't have to interact or engage with this game's systems, I can just find the red orb and win. And that's pretty shitty. Don't get me wrong, the hint system in Adventure 2 isn't good, but at least you had to interact with the stage and learn the layout. I don't have to engage with his stages, and I can just autopilot. These stages end up feeling like boxes that aren't particularly interesting. Again, I'm a bigger fan of the Adventure 2 stages, which were built specifically for Knuckles. Okay, Amy Rose, the girl of the group. I hate her. Her default abilities allow her to jump, swing a hammer, jump and swing a hammer, and at top speed she can swing a hammer and do a high jump. Admittedly, the high jump is a good move. I like it. I guess she can also spin with the hammer infinitely with an upgrade, which is just a shittier versions of Tails' infinite spin. No, I really hate this character because, number 1, she has no character and is just girl. Number 2, when she swings her hammer, she loses all momentum and stops dead in her tracks. Number 3, her stages are super boring. Okay, I guess I should briefly explain why I don't like her stages. They're just kind of basic walk from point A to point B with boring platforming and puzzles that an infant can solve. What's that? You're colorblind? Fuck you, little Timmy. The only positive I can really say about Amy is that her gameplay segment doesn't even reach an hour in length. Okay, Gamma, you're up next, and I think you're also not that fun. But you're better than Amy. He plays like the mech from Sonic Adventure 2, but he's far more mobile and faster. If you hold down the B button, he can lock onto multiple enemies and shoot them. You can get an upgrade that lets him hover, and another that gives his cannon splash damage. The goal in Gamma's stages is to get to the end with a timer counting down. The more enemies Gamma combos with his lock-on ability, the more time he gains back. His playstyle is okay at best, but it's just really boring to me. I just wish he had more movement options or more attack options, just something to add to the variety of his stages. His unique boss experiences are also pretty bad. I can literally just hold B and win. These E-series fights are just trash. Although I don't particularly like Gamma's playstyle, at least his story is alright, and his gameplay sections also don't last very long. The last and most certainly least is Big the Cat. This fucking bigot doesn't platform, run fast, or do anything interesting. He fishes for his frog. That's it. Okay, so I'm fine with Sonic having his weird friends show up, but why the fuck is fishing in this game? Why are we fishing in a game focused on high-speed platforming and momentum? Alright, fine. How's the fishing? Gonna be completely honest, I have no frame of reference since I don't play fishing simulators. I mean, compared to the other characters though, it really doesn't mesh all that well, and that would be fine if it were like an optional minigame, but you need to clear Big the Cat's stages to get the true ending. Weirdly enough, if a fish snaps a line, Big fucking kills himself. No, seriously, you lose a life for the line snapping. I, for the life of me, could not get Froggy to stick onto the line, and I ended up on the stage for 30 minutes. He just keeps letting go. Don't know why. For some reason, if I started spinning the control stick, he bit down and held down. Maybe one of these red orbs would have told me that, but I stopped listening to these orbs when they told me not to jump off a cliff.
Be careful not to fall off.
Honey, I'm about to jump off a cliff, and it ain't gonna be in Minecraft. Oh, never mind. But seriously, once I started spinning the stick like a psycho, I got through these stages in about a minute. It's still boring and unfun. I hate it, but at least it's only a minute long per stage. Okay, so now that the main playstyles are out of the way, I want to talk about the hub world. It's shit. Okay, seriously though, to get to each stage, you have to figure out where to go and what events trigger on the map. Sometimes you just have to enter an area, have a cutscene play, and then just go back to the previous area again. The little red orb will just tell you where to go, but I really think it shouldn't have to be here. This world should just be better designed, or it should have communicated to the player without bluntly saying, go to Mystic Ruins. Again, I don't have to interact with the game or figure anything out, it'll just tell me what to do. The only secret thing in the hub world are these emblems, which I don't care to collect. There are some unique upgrades to find, like the crystal ring, but it's not interesting or enticing enough to encourage me to go and actually explore. I personally prefer the stage-to-stage pace that Sonic Adventure 2 had, but the hub world could be worse.
Oh no! Oh no! Give it your best! Oh no!
I briefly touched on this, but I am not a fan of these bosses. The character fights are such a joke they don't even last 10 seconds. It sucks that Chaos is used so many times too, ruining his presence. I had to fight Chaos 4 3 times, and each time, it was boring. He rarely damaged me, he didn't kill me, and there's no real consequence of falling into the water. I'd honestly prefer if Chaos 4 was a Tails exclusive boss and was focused on platforming. But that'd probably get irritating and I'd be here complaining anyways. I don't know if it's just me, but I was checked out during most of these fights. They're just so boring to me, my ADHD rattled brain can't handle it. The only boss I got hyped for was the final boss, Perfect Chaos, which is still incredibly easy, and it's over in 3 minutes. Honestly, Perfect Chaos though is carried by the soundtrack. As goofy as it is, Open Your Heart by Crush 40 is a certified hood classic for sure. Okay, before I move on, I just want to complain about the Egg Viper really quickly. So this boss is pretty simple. Dodge the lasers, jump on Eggman's head, but then at the very end, Eggman fucking dive bombs Sonic and can kill, forcing the fight to start over. I find it kind of unfair, but also pretty funny. I'm just imagining a really pissed overworked game dev saying, "Fuck them kids," and putting it in, only for the lead designer to laugh and say, "Keep it in." Overall, the vast majority of the boss fights fail to utilize the momentum-based platforming skills the cast was designed around in favor of the shallow combat mechanics. Egg Viper and Chaos 4 are the only bosses that come to mind when it comes to using platform mechanics, but Chaos 4 doesn't even pose a threat. And this isn't necessarily a problem exclusive to Sonic Adventure, but it's a problem a lot of platforming games have. And lastly, I want to touch upon the presentation of the game. The environments present in the stages are actually pretty nice and have held up pretty well over the years. Yes, they've aged, but because they're stylized, they've aged with some grace. Unfortunately, the game's max resolution is 1600 by 900, and it doesn't have widescreen support without being modded. While it's not ideal, it's manageable and didn't horribly impact my experience. The animations, however,
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
are rough. I can make fun of these bad animations all day, but they really just speak for themselves. Even for 1998, these facial animations are absolutely horrendous, and for the Steam port, these models have been updated, and they still look horrible. The voice acting is about as on par with these facial animations.
Chaos!
Oh no! Our weapons are useless!
Ah!
It's absolutely horrible. Spyro the Dragon came out in 1998, and both the voice acting and facial animations are a huge step up.
Nasty Nork is a simple creature. Simple! He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon King.
If your argument is to say it's not fair to compare a first-party Sega game's dub to Spyro the Dragon, a game primarily developed in English, I guess I just point to Metal Gear Solid, a Japanese game that has better voice acting in the English dub that also came out in 1998. I'm sorry, but Sonic Adventure's voice acting is just terrible. Just like Sonic Adventure 2, the sound mixing is also terrible.
Lock on target, man! Ready? Fire!
I can't tell if this is a port issue or just a weird bug, but I'm sure there's a mod that fixes this too. I'll stop being negative now and gush about the soundtrack for a second. It's really, really good. There were a few songs I didn't like, but enjoyed the vast majority of it. And don't get me wrong, some of the vocal themes are super cheesy, but I can still enjoy them. But Open Your Heart by Crush 40 is absolutely amazing and a great finale. Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut is a bad PC port, and I'm not too fond of the gameplay either. Sonic and Tails are fun to play as, but Knuckles' stages aren't really designed around his moveset, making him less enjoyable to play in this game. And I've already stated I'm not a big fan of Amy, Big, and Gamma's style of play. It sucks that I really enjoyed half my playtime, a little over 3 hours as Sonic and Tails, and the other 3 hours being bored. It's really unfortunate, but a lot of this game is just boring. The challenge comes from speedrunning the levels, which is unfortunate a casual playthrough won't grant me some resistance. This game really isn't for me, and that's fine. There's still some fun to be had with 2 of the 6 characters, and I could see myself coming back, loading up this save file, and playing as Sonic again. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this game? Childhood classic? Or pile of shit? Both? Comment down below, like or dislike the video, I really don't care which. Smash that sub button like I did your mother, and I'll see you guys next year for another mediocre retrospective video. Maybe not an entire year, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. I also stream over at twitch.tv/coffee_spider if you're interested in seeing me play other games. I mostly just play Souls-like and Guilty Gear at this moment. Stop by if you're interested. Call me a fucking idiot in chat. I dare you. Bye.